The world was quiet now, painted in endless shades of gray. Tall buildings loomed like sleeping giants, reaching for an ashen sky. Alara, a small girl in a faded blue coat, wandered through the silence. One day she discovered a small wooden box hidden in a wall. Inside, nestled on faded velvet, was a single glowing seed. Alara held it in her palm, feeling as if she cradled a tiny sleeping star. In a world of cold and broken things, this seed was whole and warm. The gray city felt less empty. She had a purpose now. A spark of hope had been planted in her heart. And so, hope began with a single hidden seed. Scene ends. Alara lived high above the city in a small room filled with her mother's old journal, its pages alive with drawings of leaves and flowers. The rooftop was her secret place, where the wind whispered stories and hope grew. She found an old pot, crumbled the soil, and planted a glowing seed, just as her mother's drawings showed. The rooftop became a sanctuary for dreams, and Alara's journey with the seed began. Alara knew the seed needed water, life's most precious treasure. Her mother's journal showed a watering can and gentle drops falling like rain. "Water in the morning," the journal whispered, "gives strength for the day ahead." She found an old tin cup and filled it with clean water from a hidden pipe. Every drop was precious. None could be wasted. She carried the cup to the rooftop, kneeling beside the pot. The soil looked dry and thirsty. The journal warned, "Do not drown your friends. Too much love can be harmful." Alara poured the water slowly, letting it soak in drop by drop. She imagined the seed below, waking up to its first gentle drink. She learned to listen to the soil, giving just enough water. When the soil was dark and damp, she stopped. She felt a quiet pride. She had given her hidden friend its first drink. Every morning she repeated this ritual, a daily promise. It became a conversation with the sleeping life in the earth. She was nurturing a tiny piece of hope. Water, patience, and care. Alara's lessons in growing life. The rooftop ritual became her anchor. She watched and waited, believing in the promise of the seed. Each morning, the act of watering was a reminder. Hope needs tending. The city remained gray, but Alara's world was changing. The seed was not alone. Neither was she. Together, they waited for the first sign of green. Scene ends. Days passed, and Alara watched the pot for signs of life. One day she noticed the soil had formed a hard crust. She touched it, no longer soft and welcoming. Her mother's journal showed a fork gently poking the soil, letting air reach the roots. Roots need to breathe, just like people. Alara found a rusty fork and returned to the rooftop. She carefully broke up the crust, making the soil light and crumbly again. She imagined air flowing down, tiny roots sighing with relief. The soil was more than dirt. It was a living, breathing blanket for the seed. Every few days, she gently loosened the soil, making sure her plant's home was comfortable. Alara learned that caring for life meant tending to the unseen. The soil's health was as important as water or sun. She became a soil doctor, giving her plant the best chance to grow. Each act of care was a small promise. The rooftop was alive with quiet hope. Alara's hands grew skilled, her heart more patient. The seed's home was ready. Now all it needed was time. Alara waited, believing in the magic beneath the surface. Scene ends. Weeks passed, and Alara's connection to the rooftop pot deepened. She knew the seed needed more than water and air. It needed food. Her mother's journal spoke of compost eggshells, leaves, and peels feeding the earth. Alara saved eggshells from rare meals, found dried leaves, and gathered vegetable scraps. She started a small compost pile on the rooftop. Crushing eggshells into powder, crumbling leaves, and chopping peels, she mixed them together. She sprinkled the mixture on the soil and gently mixed it in. She was feeding the earth, giving it strength to nourish the seed. Nothing was wasted. Even scraps became a feast for new life. Alara learned the beauty of cycles, giving back to the earth what it needed. The rooftop became a place of renewal. Each act of care was a lesson in patience and gratitude. The seed's world was richer now, ready for growth. Alara watched, hopeful for the first sign of green. The city below remained silent, but above, life was quietly returning. The rooftop was a garden of possibility. Alara's hope grew stronger with every handful of compost. She waited, believing in the promise of the seed. Scene ends. The seed had water, air, and food. Now it needed sunlight. The journal's drawings showed the sun as a smiling giver of life. But in Alara's world, the sun was shy, often hidden behind clouds. She became a sun watcher, learning to read the sky. Each day she moved the pot to follow the sun's path across the rooftop. It was a patient dance, chasing every precious ray of light. Even on cloudy days, she found the brightest spot for her plant. The rooftop became a sundial, and Alara its keeper. She celebrated every beam of light that broke through the gray. Light was hope, and Alara gathered it for her hidden friend. The dance of light and shadow became her daily ritual. The plant was her partner in this slow, careful waltz. Even the smallest glimmer was a reason to believe. The rooftop was alive with possibility. Alara's care was unwavering. The seed was never alone in its search for light. Together, they waited for the miracle of green. Scene ends. One morning, a tiny green shoot broke through the soil. Alara's heart soared. Life had begun. Overjoyed, she wanted to give her new friend everything. She poured too much water, thinking more was better. The next day, the sprout was wilted and yellow. Fear and regret filled Alara. Her mother's journal warned, "Too much love can drown them." She gently drained the excess water and loosened the soil. She stopped watering, watching and waiting with worry. She whispered apologies to the little sprout. Alara learned that caring meant listening, not giving too much. She watched over the plant, hoping it would recover. Days passed, and the sprout slowly stood tall again. Alara was more careful, reading the plant's needs. She touched the soil before watering, watched the leaves for signs. The sprout grew stronger, new leaves unfurling. The rooftop was no longer just a sanctuary, it was a place of learning. Alara's heart grew with each lesson. The plant was her companion, her hope. Together, they faced the challenges of growth. Alara understood. True care is about balance. Scene ends. The sprout recovered, growing taller and stronger each day. Alara talked to it, sharing stories and dreams of a green world. One day, a bud appeared at the top of the plant. Alara watched it swell with anticipation. Then, one morning, the bud opened. A flower bloomed. Its petals were a luminous blue, glowing with golden light at the center. The flower was breathtaking, casting a warm glow across the rooftop. The air smelled sweet, like honey and rain. It was a splash of color in a world that had forgotten beauty. Alara sat before it for hours, filled with wonder. The flower was more than beautiful. It was hope made real. Proof that life could bloom even in the deepest silence. The rooftop was transformed by its magic. Alara's heart overflowed with gratitude. The city below remained gray, but above, a miracle had blossomed. The flower was a promise kept. Alara's care had created something new. The rooftop garden was alive with possibility. Hope had taken root and bloomed. Scene ends. The magical flower's light became a beacon in the gray city. At first no one noticed, but soon others saw the glow. Curiosity stirred, drawing lonely survivors to Alara's rooftop. They found her sitting beside the glowing blossom, surrounded by care and hope. The flower's color seemed to chase away the grayness in their hearts. When the flower faded, it left behind a cluster of new seeds. Alara shared them with those who had come, showing them her mother's journal. Each person took a seed, starting their own rooftop gardens. Soon, other lights appeared across the city. A blue glow here, a golden shimmer there. Each light was a promise, each garden a new beginning. The gray silence was slowly filled with the quiet work of caring. Alara's small act of hope had planted a forest of light. The city was changing, one seed at a time. Even in a broken world, the smallest act of love could bloom and spread. The rooftop gardens became a network of hope. Alara watched as her city came alive with color and life. The story of the seed was now everyone's story. Hope had spread, unstoppable and bright. The world was no longer silent. Scene ends.